New information now at this hour regarding the double shooting that left a former NASCAR driver dead.
Now, if you're like me, you were surprised to learn the news from John Wes Townley. And following the incident, the story just slowly faded away. With Daytona approaching, I was looking through some old ARCA stuff, and it started making me think, what happened? What led up to that incident? And more importantly, what happened since? And what I found out was truly shocking.
3, 2, 1.
Now, unfortunately, some athletes make headlines outside of their sport, and sometimes they're for very tragic reasons.
Well, the wrestling world in shock today. Former champion Chris Benoit found dead in his Atlanta home along with his wife and young son. Police now treating the discovery as a double murder-suicide.
Aaron Hernandez had a 5-year Patriots contract extension worth nearly $40 million. But that came to an end when he was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and 5 weapons charges.
Following some breaking news, the gunman who killed 5 people, including a prominent South Carolina doctor, is identified as former NFL player Philip Adams, who killed himself early this morning.
Did John Wes Townley have something in common with these other athletes? Unfortunately, it's something that we'll probably never know. But concussions and head injuries in racing are certainly detrimental to the drivers. Just take a listen to Dale Jr.
Because the symptoms in 2016 came on like a cold or a flu. It wasn't like hit a wall, oh, I'm messed up. It was like a slow progression that wasn't even tied to an impact. And so ever since then, I've got this fear in me that this is all could come back. It came on its own, then it could come back again.
Now, to tell the story of John Wes Townley, we of course got to take a closer look at the driver himself. Now, he wasn't just an ordinary driver out there. He was the son of the co-founder of Zaxby's. Got a start in go-kart racing at a very early age. And by the age of 17, had a driver development deal with the Wood Brothers and JTG Doherty Racing. He was racing in the ASA Southern Late Model Division. And also at the age of 17 was able to secure his first win in that division. Now, being the son of the owner of Zaxby's, of course, he didn't have to worry about sponsorship. And that helped him move up through the ranks as he continued up through getting into the ARCA Series, also the NASCAR Truck Series, and the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Now, along the route here, he was able to earn a victory in the Truck Series at Las Vegas and was able to get 2 victories in the ARCA Series, both of them coming at Daytona. One in 2013 and another one in 2016. But along with these wins, unfortunately, John Wes Townley was known for something else, and that was for some wrecks. And some of them were really serious wrecks.
Have found tough going early. Let's see if we can see what happened. Boy, up against the wall, and Schindell's going to just get caught up in it. He has nowhere to go. Spun.
That has occurred as a result of this wreck in this morning's practice. John Wes Townley spun around and hit the wall hard in turn number 2 in the Richard Childress Racing 21. Because of that hit, Richard Childress has put former series champ Clint Boyer aboard that car tonight.
Year of 94 out in front.
There it is.
94 and hard into the wall goes John Wes Townley up the racetrack. Went Milcaduno. There was a car on the inside that shot up into the 15 and hard into the wall as John Wes Townley back into the inside wall now.
Now, in 2014 at Pocono, John Wes Townley was involved in another severe wreck, one that would take him out of the race car for weeks. Now, interestingly, at the beginning of the 2014 season, NASCAR, they'd implemented this new program. It was a neurocognitive test for drivers. Basically, what they had to do is take this test at the beginning of the year so they can compare it to other tests that they would give them following wrecks. But John Wes Townley, he really didn't take this too seriously. He didn't read up on it. He didn't read up on the directions. And he did poorly on the original test. He even went on to say so much that it was so bad, he asked them if he could do it over again, to which he did. Now, following the wreck at Pocono, he wished he wouldn't have took that because they were able to see what was really going on in his head. And obviously, this was the beginning of some concussion symptoms and situations that would be very debilitating to him.
If you had to guess, how many concussions do you think you've had?
I would say maybe 20 to 25, I would say.
How many of those do you think NASCAR was aware of?
The majority of those I wouldn't have told anybody about, you know.
Now, in 2016, headlines were really made. This was another incident with John Wes Townley that took place at Gateway with the son of another prominent business owner, the owner of Allegiant Airlines, who was the son that was the driver, Spencer Gallagher. Now, during this race, Spencer Gallagher got into Townley and sent him into the wall, driver's side. Now, following this, Townley said he knew something was wrong. He felt something wrong in his head, but he continued to drive. And then just a few laps later, according to Townley, he lost his brakes and once again got into Spencer Gallagher. And what happened after that became known as the WWE of NASCAR.
John Wes Townley and Spencer Gallagher exchanging words, and they're going at it.
This is
John
gonna
Wes
be good.
Townley and Spencer Gallagher down there in turn one. And there's Townley and Gallagher. John Wes Townley landed a couple of good blows there.
Now, following the second wreck, John Wes Townley said he knew there was something seriously wrong. He saw stars with the impact. He was dazed, he was confused, and he was mad. But unfortunately, this wouldn't be the last time that the world would see his aggression. Now, he was out of the car again with severe concussion symptoms, and by the end of the 2016 season, John Wes Townley had announced his retirement. Now, for most parts, it seemed like John Wes Townley would just be a name that we would see in the history books on some old reruns. But in 2021, unfortunately, that wasn't the case.
A double shooting in Athens left a former NASCAR driver dead and a woman there injured. Athens Clark County Police confirm 31-year-old John Wes Townley died at the hospital last night.
Now, what I'm about to play for you, I bring no joy in doing it. I could have told these words myself, but I really would find no joy in that. Now, outside of this show, I'm a filmmaker. I like to tell stories. It's what I've done for decades. And there's nobody that can tell this story better than John Wes Townley's ex-wife, the woman who was on the other end of that attack. Now, for this, I'm going to leave the screen black so you can listen to her words, the words that she shared on her own Facebook account.
My name is Laura Townley, and some of you may have seen the news articles while I was in the hospital about my ex-husband trying to break in and kill me with an axe. John Wes and I were together for like 9 years, and we dated for 4 years, and that relationship was picture perfect. And while we're dating, he had told me some stuff about his past. It was stuff about him, you know, attacking his own parents and pulling knives on his own friends in high school. And I just had the idea like, okay, that was back when. We're here now, like, whole different set of times. But even then, I always had this feeling in my gut that something was off. And I kept dismissing it, you know, it was like little things that kept leading up to it. You know, him breaking my phone, you know, blocking me and like, oh, that's normal. I was just sitting there eating dinner and he threw me across the room. And I busted my head and my lip open. And I just ran outside bleeding. And my neighbors saw me and called the cops. And at the time, I was begging them, please don't call the cops. Like, it's fine. And so I, like every other time, made excuses for it. Then things continued to get worse. I mean, I would get pinned in corners, have axes at my head, get told that he was going to shoot me and my dogs in the head, and he took all the locks off of the doors so that he could access me at any time, and I couldn't lock him out, and still all this time I was like, things are going to get better, like, it's fine. And finally I decided, you know, he's going to kill me. So we signed the divorce papers, and right after signing them, and I got home, and I ended up finding this notebook of his, and it was basically him talking about just crazy things. I text my mom, and I said, "Oh my goodness, I think that John Wes was going to try to kill me." And little did I know that 5 days following that text, he was in fact going to try to kill me. That was that October 2nd of 2021. When I was just sitting here studying for psychology and the door bust open, and in less than 7 seconds, someone loses their life, and mine is changed forever.
Police say John Townley showed up at the home Saturday night and attacked his ex-wife and another man, 32-year-old Zachary Anderson, with a hatchet. The Townleys were in the process of a divorce that was finalized this last week. Police say Anderson, the man at the home, took out a gun and shot at John Townley, but ended up accidentally shooting Laura as well. She is now in serious condition at a local hospital. John Townley died at the hospital.
Man, that's heartbreaking. That's really heartbreaking. Now, so many of these situations, including the clips I showed you at the beginning, are found out to be from something more serious than a concussion.
Researchers revealed today that former NFL player Philip Adams had this condition known as CTE.
Researchers at Boston University made a startling announcement on Thursday. Dr. Ann McKee, who heads BU's CTE Research Center and studies the effect of repeated brain injuries, says that former Patriots tight end Aaron Hernandez suffered from the most severe CTE ever discovered in someone his age.
Unfortunately, it looks like we'll never know if John Wes Townley had CTE. I'm led to believe that most likely he did, because the situations with the concussions that we knew about, in most cases, there's probably more.
How many concussions do you think you've had?
I would say maybe 20 to 25, I would say.
Now, the amazing thing about Dale Jr. is he's been a big advocate for concussion protocol. I think a lot of things have changed in the NASCAR industry because of this man, and he's a legend for a lot of reasons. I was sad to see him get out of the race car. Very sad. But I'm glad that he did for his own health and for his own safety, because the man definitely deserves it. And the interesting thing about this is that in 2016, Dale Jr. announced that he was donating his brain, that he wanted people to research this more to see if he suffers from CTE, because he's had a fear himself.
Life. How concerned are you about the long-term health consequences from having gotten so many concussions?
I'm real concerned about what this means for me as I get older. Am I going to have issues with my memory and my personality? Is that gonna, are those things gonna be affected? Are they already affected and I'm just not aware of it? I worry about that. I read a lot of articles about all athletes that deal with that stuff, or athletes that are old and retired and that are dealing with it, are seeing changes in themselves. I can't stop myself from reading about other people's experiences.
So Dale Jr. being a hell of a man, because one day the Concussion Legacy Foundation will be able to do research on himself to find out if he did have CTE to further help other athletes in the future. And if that isn't one of the most admirable things that a race car driver could do, I don't know what is. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope we never have to deal with anything like this again, because as I say, this was not a fun episode to do, but it was a story that I'd questioned whatever happened afterwards, and I felt like it needs sharing. But anyways, I hope you're having a great week out there, and as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.